Now I'm looking back at that Kentucky Derby and that idiotic fast track and that fast pace that cost this horse a Triple Crown, and maybe people won't be so anxious now to go for super times on that day when 4 records fell.
Okay, well, Hank, thanks a lot for your thoughts and impressions. And yes, Chris, he does have a piece of Point Given. He picked him to win.
And Hank, taking a hindsight shot of the setup for the track of the Kentucky Derby, will that be a factor that's going to be remembered as far as why he didn't win the Derby?
I'll have to take exception with Hank on that one. I don't think the speed of the racetrack necessarily had as much to do with it as it did perhaps, you heard Chris McCarron say otherwise, but perhaps how close Point Given was to what turned out to be a record-setting pace.
And Hank brought it up, and it's an interesting point. Will Point Given run now against older horses? There's a pretty good group of older horses, including one trained by Baffert named Captain Steve. Would he actually put his 2 trainees head-to-head?
Well, since they're owned by different owners, of course, Captain Steve is owned by Mike Pegram, and you just saw Prince Ahmed. He's going to be forced to at some point. I know he'll probably try to keep them apart as long as possible, but first things first, let's just hope that we get as far as the Breeders' Cup with Captain Steve still in training and, of course, with Point Given still firing.
What'll be Point Given's final legacy as we take a look at your favorite angle, the overhead view, the gate-to-wire blimp replay.
The view from about 1,000 feet here, I suppose, as they leave the gate here in the Belmont Stakes. Point Given on the far outside now, and Gary Stevens, it just takes him back a little off the pace here, but he doesn't want Point Given to fall too far off the pace because you know that the pace is going to be slow. And besides, you can just let Point Given go in a high lope around the racetrack, and he can go a half mile in 48 seconds. So right here, as you go into the turn, you've got, of course, the expected pace setter, Balto Star, in front. You've got Buckle Down Ben in second, and to his outside, you've got Point Given there, just taking it easy right now and just in cruise control. Now look at Monarchos. Go back to the middle, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th right there. There is Monarchos. To his inside, you've got Thunder Blitz, and at the back of the pack is Dollar Bill and Dr. Greenfield. Dollar Bill is already pretty far off of a slow pace, so much for trying to keep Dollar Bill closer to the front. Now, Balto Star is still carving out a pretty comfortable pace, but McCarron said that he knew soon, not too far after this point, that Balto Star was going to be in trouble. If you're a fan of Balto Star and you know that Point Given is as close as he is right here, you know that that can't be good. Now look to the outside of Point Given. You've got AP Valentine, and AP Valentine is being kept close, trying to track Point
working
Given.
a lot harder right here, obviously.
Working a lot harder. Look at the arms of Gary Stevens, and then the arms, of course, of the rider of AP Valentine, Victor Espinosa, and you can see a big difference, and it's going to become even more exaggerated as the race progresses and they get closer to the stretch. In the back of the pack, just in the back of the picture, is Monarchos. As Monarchos begins to creep closer, he has been under a drive by Jorge Chavez now already for about 1/8 of a mile. Chavez has always been very aggressive on this horse, and he was today. Now back to the front. Watch the jockeys.
Right there.
Point Given, Gary Stevens, cruise control. Victor Espinosa already going to work on AP Valentine, trying to stay close. And of course, it's to no avail as Point Given, that running style that does so well in the Belmont. When you've got the talent and you've got the pedigree and you've got a horse that doesn't necessarily flash a huge move, but he can just keep grinding out those fast quarters like you get in the Preakness. And that is the kind of horse that tends to be very impressive here in the Belmont.
And perhaps Point Given's wondering, why is this guy hitting me? I mean, the rest of the field's in a different zip code at this point, and Gary's still urging him, trying to, as he said, put on a show.
That is a large margin. Look at that. 12 1/4. AP Valentine hanging on for second. Monarchos on the inside third. Dollar Bill is rallying on the outside. He made up a lot of ground, but the pace absolutely kept him from having any kind of chance to win. It looks just as impressive or more so from 1,000 feet as it did right here from ground level.
Guy in the blimp not used to having to widen out to get the field in that shot. They've run 133 of these races. Only 6 have been by more dominant margins of victory. Let's go to Jack Whitaker.
Bob Baffert, a smiling Bob Baffert. Or he's usually smiling even when he doesn't feel good. How do you feel today?
Well, I don't know, be happy or be sad, the way he ran today, but at least he got to show off his stuff today and show that he is a great horse, and hopefully there'll be better and bigger things from here.
You're asked this all the time, and I hope we can bury it eventually, but was it a big disappointment losing the Derby? Bigger now that you've won these last 2?
No, it was bigger when we lost it because we're trying to figure out, where we might have gone wrong or what happened, but you just, in this business, sometimes we lead them up there, we think they're, doing great, they don't show up, and what you might have thought you did with them would have hurt them or helped them can vary. So, I think a lot of it was just pace. Got caught up in the pace. Track was a little firm that day, but maybe he needed one more race to really sharpen him up, because now I think he's ready for he'd be ready for another one.
He'd be ready for the older horses the way he looked today.
If I had to do it over, I would have run him maybe one more time or run him in the wood a little bit closer. I think he needs a lot of racing. He's a big horse, and he's just getting better and better.
What are your plans for him now, do you know?
Well, we're going to get him home to California and just look him over. And, you know, he came back, it was nothing for him. As you can see, he just does it so easy. Just a big, long, striding horse. And Gary had to really keep him busy here, because he likes to gawk around, look around like he did at the Preakness. He was looking all over the place. But he's just a big clown, and so he's like a big T-Rex. And so
He is a handful, isn't he?
he's big, but he's very sweet, though, really.
Is he?
Very sweet horse.
I just saw Pedro. I said he's the bravest man I know.
Oh, it's one of those things where we've had trouble. In the morning he throws people off of there and everything else, and he's given me like heart failure a couple of times. He's easy to train, but not if you have a heart condition.
He was well behaved this afternoon. Bob, congratulations. We hope we're going to see a lot more of him.
Thank you.
Chris?
All right, Jack. I like the nickname T-Rex, like a giant carnivore. He just gobbled up this field as he heads back to his barn. Winner of the Preakness and now the Belmont Stakes. We'll come back. Could be a very small, well-guarded island green out there as we make the clumsy segue to a promo for ABC Sports coverage of the exciting final round of the FedEx St. Jude Classic tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC Sports. Janine?
Well, Chris, I can tell you one of the most gracious trainers of all is John Ward. He walked all the way back over here from his barn where he was just back there checking on Monarchos. And you said you have not seen a replay yet. You'd rather not care to, but the horse came out of the race okay?
Yeah, the horse came out of the race good, tired. It's been a long 8-race season for him, and I'm just happy we got the big one, and he performed well today. So you got to be happy about that when you see an athlete do the best.
He did try hard today. Down the backside, you said he was pretty much where you wanted him to be.
Yeah, he was into the race early, and then down the backside he was all right. But the winner was such a dominant horse today. Down the backside, the winner put everybody at odds and opened up on him in the turn. And today the winner finished extremely well. So, we were battling for second, and we just didn't quite get there. But it's been a long campaign, and he's a healthy horse, and he'll be at the Spa in August, and we'll hopefully we'll see the refreshed Monarchos.
So he will get a little time off, and you say next stop probably the Jim Dandy.
Jim Dandy leading to the Travers is what I would look for, and he'll be good.
He will. We'll look for that. And Chris John said the next time Monarchos sees a 1.5 miles, he'll be in a paddock.
All was not lost, though, for Mr. Ward. He did win the Acorn yesterday with his filly Forest Secrets at 50-1. We'll come back. Kenny Mayne will join us, kids, right after this. Welcome back to Belmont Park. You got to use some masking tape if you want to paint the silks of the Thoroughbred Corporation. Vertical green and white stripes for Point Given's win here today. Well, in our continuing effort to say about every sports program that's on the network, the Texas 500 will be on tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Scott Sharp looking to defend his IRL title on the High Bank Speedway there. Kenny Mayne will join us when we come back to Belmont Park to talk more about Belmont 133 and the Triple Crown season.
ESPN presents Know the Game. Kart FedEx Championship Series is one of the most expensive sports with a starting price of $450,000 US per chassis. Added to the cost of the chassis, teams will lease 6 to 7 engines at a price of $120,000 each. Teams will also have to add to the cost wheels and tires, spare parts, transporter, and team personnel. On an average season, established teams will spend between $7 to $14 million. This has been a presentation of ESPN's Know the Game.
Cricket, a game of passion and intensity, day-long battles, remarkable action, and the legends and heroes that are a part of a gorgeous tapestry. The glory, the drama, and the majesty will be celebrated like never before. This Friday, the great battles between England and Australia of 1972 continue. ESPN's History of Cricket.
As the stretch run for the final race of the day unfolds behind us. It's a race on the turf course, and if you haven't, it's the 1 horse on top of the 2 horse. We're going to return our focus, rightfully so, to the Belmont as Henny Mayne joins us here, a man who has a wad full of cash there in your hand. A good day for you?
For my wife's consumption, the $2 bet, we won it. We got it. We got all 470 out of that. That's what it was, wasn't it? 470.
What was your take on this dominant performance, though, by point?
The 1 horse there, I thought that he, no. I was not surprised because I did say, not that I know anything, but yeah, I mean, he was, what was he, 3 to 275. So it didn't take a lot of gumption to say he's going to win, but I thought he was the horse all the way through. He won so convincingly out west. I thought he was going to win in Kentucky. He didn't, but I stayed with him all the way through, and obviously he's as great as everybody thought in the first place.
You feel qualified to put this in historical perspective, as quite a few other folks have, given the margin of victory and the dominance that he's won the last 2?
Well, you can never utter secretariat. That's just, heresy. But, I mean, everybody was just stunned. It was just overpowering. I mean, he just kept going. I thought he'd get that lead and they'd come to him and he'd hang on by 2 or 3, but he kept increasing. They could have gone a couple of laps and he was going to win the thing.
You go to the racetrack all the time. Do you have a piece of horses even, a little piece?
Do I have a piece of a horse?
Yeah.
Steve Cyphers does.
Yeah.
I don't have any yet.
But we were commenting earlier, the Belmont really seems to be back. I mean, a few years ago, this place was half full until the Triple Crown attempts of Silver Charmer real quiet kind of energized this thing. Now with no Triple Crown in place, it was a big event today. Well, Bill, Hillary?
Yeah, I had Victory Gallop on Real Quiet, but...
okay, Bill Joy.
No, in fact, I took my nephew out from Seattle. I didn't take him. His mom paid for it, but he was out here to enjoy and learn how to read a racing form, and he got to meet the ex-president, so that was kind of fun for me. It was huge, and this is such a classy place, and everybody gets up for it. It's a fun day. The undercard is great. I mean, it really is fun. I thought Baffert said something very funny as he was walking down with the Clintons leading him. He looked at me as he walked by and said, well, I guess we just blew $5 million. There goes another $5 million, thinking they could have won the Hall. But
yeah, but that's such a pessimistic outlook. I mean, Bob, he can be a sunny
guy. He was joking.
But why? Yeah, but he's been talking about that a lot. These trainers always think about how much money they didn't win. I mean,
maybe
he won a race with $1 million
money.
purse today.
Jack Whitaker interviewed him a minute ago. He had a long face to begin with. It's almost like he wanted to apologize.
Right. He's certainly got to be happy about this animal. I mean, right away he's Breeders' Cup Classic material, and who knows, maybe in the favorite. He's definitely one of them. And he's he's got, I don't know what you guys heard about his next campaign where he's going, but give him some rest for starters.
Right.
And then who knows what, he's definitely the dominant 3-year-old, if not one of the dominant in the whole country.
Kenny, thanks for stopping by. Go cash all those tickets at the window here before they close. It might take a while to cash those.
I didn't need the 11th and 12th race today.
Good for you. For a change. We're going to come back. We'll put a period on Belmont 133. Day belongs to Point Given.
Presentation of the Triple Crown 2001 is brought to you by Citgo, we know you. By Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. By Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. By Keeneland, the source for the classic horse. By Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in racing. By Long John Silver's that one-of-a-kind taste. And by Williams Communications, we have, we can, we will. Equibase.com, your official online source for racing information from entries to results and everything in between. Equibase.com is a service of Equibase Company, the thoroughbred industry's official database.
Well, a final look at the official results for the Belmont Stakes. It's something amazing, but the top 6 finishers in this race exactly the order of their odds. The handicappers nailed a very tough race to pick. By the way, the pick 6, which was $1 million guaranteed, paid just $11,154. So a lot of folks had this thing nailed. Janine?
Well, Chris, I think the point to make here is what we've just witnessed is why the game of horse racing is so hard to figure out and why racing's Triple Crown is so elusive. The best horse doesn't always win every race, as evidenced by Point Given in the Kentucky Derby. A lot of times it's a demolition derby. A lot of great famous racehorses have been defeated, not because they were beaten by better horses, but because they had an off day. Man of War, Native Dancer, to name just a couple. Point Given may be a great horse, probably is, but this will always be the Triple Crown that got away. What I'll look forward to, though, is those races later on down the road, the Travers, perhaps the Breeders' Cup Classic. Hopefully we'll see these 3-year-olds butting heads once again. Jack, how about your thoughts?
Well, this certainly was the most dominating performance of any horse this year anywhere, I think. Certainly among the 3-year-olds, and Point Given at this point is well ahead of this class of very deeply talented 3-year-olds. And he looks like he's going to stay there. The next time we meet them, however, in late summer, they will be bigger and stronger, maybe a little smarter. But if they're going to improve on this performance today by Point Given, they're going to have to improve an awful lot. Point Given looks like he might be not only 3-year-old of the year, maybe horse of the year. Chris?
Jack, he may always be the biggest, strongest horse in the field. I also, like Janine, look forward to seeing what this horse can do down the line because, as Baffert pointed out, dominant performances for him are so effortless, so the sky's the limit.
All right, I'm going to add one little historical twist here. I'm not as qualified as Jack to talk about history, but remember, this horse becomes the 12th horse now, the 12th Belmont winner to be sired by a Belmont winner. He did it nearly 6 full seconds faster than his sire Thunder Gulch did back in 1995.
I was going to say he blew away Dad's time, although he does the Thunder Gulch line proud. Point Given, the dominant winner of the Belmont. NCAA College World Series is coming up next. It's Miami versus Tennessee. We've enjoyed the Triple Crown Trail for 2001. Randy, it's been a pleasure. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. One final look at Big Red Point Given charging down the stretch and giving Bob Baffert win of the Belmont, the 8th Triple Crown win for Gary Stevens. It was something to see here at Belmont Park this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Come on, Miss former aerobic champion.
Might be pretty